Right, it looks like stream's going well, timers have started, CPU usage is good, Twitch doesn't know if I'm live or not as usual, it's all going well, and welcome back to CodeZone, and well, I've got to play the intro video, haven't I? Well, that still works, hopefully. Right, everything is new. So, where am I looking? Actually, that's where I'm looking. See, I've got to learn all of this new stuff. Everything is new. I've got a new OBS setup, I've got a new studio, I've got new audio devices, I've got new cameras, I've got new everything. So we may have some technical glitches tonight. So firstly, it would help me if you could confirm, can you hear me? That would be the first thing, because it's actually quite a complicated setup. I need to stop looking at the chat and instead look at the camera. Look at the camera, there it is. So I can see in the chat we've got already. Ah, you can't hear us. Okay, very good. Thank you, Roxa. Right, good evening, Magetsa. Good evening, Charnel Mouse. And oh, good evening. Yeah, Roxy, you three. Right, good. And me. Well, it's been a while since we've done some streaming, hasn't it? So I'm looking at the chat up here. So I've got a monitor up here with the chat, and I might move that somewhere else. Johnny G, hello. Thank you for the subscription. That's very kind of you. Looking great. We can hear you. That's good. And Rosso is here too. Right. So, yes, when I'm looking up here, I'm looking at the chat. I don't know how weird that looks. Maybe I should put the chat back down here. I don't know yet. So, right, what are we going to do first? Well, I thought we'd start with just introducing some of the new things. So what's happened? Why have I been offline? I know I keep coming up with all these excuses. Well, truth is, I needed to refresh my studio. Right? It's not changed in about 8 years. Could you believe that? And it was getting a bit tired and worn out, and I wanted some new features and things in it to sort of go on to the next phase of One Lone Coder, really. And that happened. So One Lone Coder is now legitimate. It is an entity in its own right. So what have I got here? Well, I've got close-up can. Now I have to remember which buttons to press here. It's because we don't like, well, I don't like you specifically, but you know, hey, whatnot. Yeah, evening, Bixie. Good. We're still using your theme, Bixie, but I think it's about time we need to reanimate the intro. So as you can see, I've got lights. I've got a light up here as well. It's shining on me. I've got lights here, and we'll come back to that in a minute. That's been a new project. Standard int. Hello. Good to see you too. Yes, we're back, right? It's taken a long time to sort of find my feet again after going through quite a bumpy year. It's not something I've been that vocal about, but a lot has gone on for me personally this year, and regarding family and things like that. And as a result, I've needed to sort of reevaluate and move things about, and it's been quite time consuming. But today it's CodeZone. We're back, and we're not going to completely dump everything we've been doing. We'll be jumping back onto some of the GUI stuff, because we were halfway through a video explaining how we made the game last time. This time going to be a little bit of an experimental night, because I'm still learning what all the buttons are and what all the cameras do. So let's have a look. So, oh, Morris. Thank you, Morris. Very kind. Very good. Did you ever update the theme to the latest version I sent you? No, probably not, right? So everything kind of went on hold because I didn't want to produce anything until One Lone Coder was legitimate, and it is now. So I've got to keep looking at that camera there. Right? That's the one I'm looking for. It's got a very distracting orange thing right next to it, which I use as a bit of a privacy slide, because the coolest thing ever. I bought this. Check this out. I bought one of these. This is brilliant. And to be fair, most of the Discord already know what this is, and some of them, especially you, Rosso, thank you by the way, have been helping me try to understand how to use it. It is a 3D printer because I wanted to start doing a few more practical things. Those that know what I do for a living, I'm not just a coder. I'm actually more of an electronics guy and a coder, and I'm a systems engineer. So I actually build things for a living. And so I thought, well, let's start exploring some embedded systems alongside all of the regular code stuff too. That is the Plongus machine. Yes, it's for those that care about such things. It's a Bamboo P1S. I've just gone buzz. Why have I just gone buzz? People know that let's have a look what's going on. Why have I just gone buzz? It is because... Don't know. Oh. It's a new breaking news. CEO shooting suspect Luigi Mangione in angry outburst outside court as he fights extradition to New York. Right, that was necessary to interrupt the code zone, wasn't it? Well, here we've got what I call close-up cam. Now, where can I see what's going on? We've got the chat in the corner. It could be a mini fridge, couldn't it? That would be cool if it was a mini fridge. And if I press, I've got to press the right button. If I press this button, we go over to Code Cam, which is what we know and love. So I can sit here talking to code. Hopefully you're still picking up the audio. Hopefully it's all working. Keep some shandy in it. Yeah, the Vimto's up on my new shelves, which we'll have a look in a minute. So this is Code Cam, and we'll be looking at this tonight because I thought we've got something completely off the wall, a bit more exciting, something I've never done before, and that's messing about with an ESP32. We'll have a look at that in a minute. So I can come back to there we go. I can come back to close-up cam. I need to get used to the transitions of where I'm looking. Because I quite like actually being able to sort of make a bit more pseudo eye contact with the audience. I think that's a necessary thing to make a stream engaging. You don't want just some little coder sat in the corner going, I hate Rust all day. We can just make it a bit more sort of personal, can't we? Why did you choose an ESP32? Because it is the cheapest microcontroller you can buy, and I'll show you the one that I got. And you pay a price because quite clearly you are farming all of your data and capabilities off to some server in some country, which we probably shouldn't be. Now, as usual, Twitch is saying that my link is unstable. Is it coming through okay for everybody? It doesn't look like I've dropped any frames. The bit rate is at 7 kilobits per second. That's what I'm uploading it at. So it looks pretty robust to me, 30 frames per second. Good. So it's high here. So there may be a few technical glitches whilst I'm still figuring a few things out, particularly remembering to look at the camera and not the chat, because I imagine that looks a bit strange when I should have thought about that. So have I moved house? No, I haven't. I'm still in the same place. In fact, I'm still in the same room. But I have sort of reorganised the room a little bit to give me a bit more space to enjoy some of the newer stuff that I want to do, and to upgrade the cameras and the lighting and the sound and put all of the wiring in. Because in this room, I now have 32 main sockets. You can never have enough main sockets, and I now have 32 installed into the fabric of the room. So plenty of toys can be plugged in to play with. Let me just have a quick look at the chat because it has been happening. Oh, Alta, hello. Yes, good. That's a rude thing of them to call you. Can't remember. What do you mean by One Lone Coder is legit? Well, One Lone Coder is now. It's a limited company. There is a legitimate entity called One Lone Coder in the UK. So it allows me to sort of partition One Lone Coder as a complete section of my hobbies and interests and life. Nothing changes. It doesn't make any money. It doesn't have to make any money, but it allows me to just sort of put a big line down saying that is one thing, and this is something else, and this is something else. Because I have quite a lot of other things going on in my life, and it's just a way to keep control of it. But it does allow me some freedoms and some interactions. And the first thing that happened when you set up a limited company, I got denied a bank account for it. Isn't that amazing? I've never been denied a bank account ever, but I was denied 2 bank accounts trying to set up One Lone Coder Limited. Which was most frustrating. I did end up managing to set one up, and then I set up an eBay account, and within 30 minutes of having an eBay account, they permanently banned me from it. It's amazing being a limited company with absolutely no background history for anybody to validate anything. You're just like giving an infant all of these accounts. It's amazing. So it's actually been quite a challenge. Right, let me catch up with some of the... You kind of know you've made it when immediately banned off eBay, although I do hear everybody's banned off eBay. Right, what am I looking at? I'm confused what you mean about ESP32s and sending data. Did I miss something that ties that together? Right, well, I think Morris is trying to bait me into sort of chastising some of our brethren from across the seas. But of course, most of the ESP32 stuff is so cheap because it is made in countries that have cheap manufacturing costs, and perhaps sometimes some slightly suspicious data handling operations too. And of course, you've got to get all of the information, such as the compiler tool chains and all that sort of thing, from over there. But also, it's a device with built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. I'm sure by powering it up, it's already listening to this conversation. as is the Bamboo printer. That's actually well documented online. Everything I send to this is going through multiple servers before it gets to my printer. So who knows who's snooping on that. But the thing is, I'm not really that fussed about whether somebody knows that my cube exists. I think enough people have seen my cubes. Right. Congratulations on the account denial. Yes. Internet of Things, ain't it great? Well, that's what I'm discovering, and I've no real sort of passion for Internet of Things. I do think it's junk, and I also think people get what they pay for. And I appreciate that in our hobby, not most people don't have any money full stop, but a lot of the toys and trinkets in our hobby can be quite an expensive endeavour. But these low-cost things, they are starting to proliferate. They are starting to be useful, and that's what I'm intending to do. Now, the other reason I've moved to ESP32 is everybody does Arduino. I'm not a big fan of sort of Arduino stuff. To me, it's like Python, right? There's everything already exists in Arduino land. There's very little for you to do yourself. You can always do it yourself, of course. So yeah, that's why I used to use Mbed, which I've done a few YouTube videos on. I'm not using Mbed anymore because they're now not recommended for new designs. So it's one of those things that I have to fade out. I have to choose something else. And I bought a bunch of ESP32s and dev boards for almost nothing. And if they blow up, it doesn't matter. I'll just buy some more. Let's see what happens tonight anyway, because that's what we're going to do tonight. Raspberry Pi Pico. Why not use Raspberry Pis? Well, I mean, Raspberry Pi, sort of normal Raspberry Pi, is just a cut down Linux machine. That's not really what I'm after. What I'm after is a device that I can potentially put on my own circuit boards, because PCB design is something I'm capable of doing. Is PGE still going? Yes, of course PGE is still going to be a thing. PGE 3 is in full strong development at the moment. That's absolutely not going anywhere. And I've also been learning. Well, I know that, Rosso. Thank you. You keep using those greater than signs again, but I'm not quite sure whether you're typing in the right thing or not. PGE is still going to be a thing. I've been doing some web dev. That's where I was going with this, wasn't it? Why have I been doing some web dev? Because unfortunately, I can't find the camera. Where is it? There it is. Unfortunately, because I think it's about time. That time I got over my fear of doing some web dev, and so much to the amusement of some of the mods on the Discord server, I've been doing some web dev, and we've played around with a couple of web applications that I've been messing around with over the last few weeks. So even though the studio has not existed, me and my laptop has existed, and so I've actually been coding quite a bit. We've had lots of updates on the OLC GUI, we've had quite a few updates on PGE 3, and we've had a few updates on my sort of vector-based stuff, and we'll come to all those in future episodes and future videos. Right. Oh, Asimov, thank you. And because you are worried about sending data, I must just Wireshark my network. It's possible, Morris. Working on 1000 npm dependency stare. Right, where are we going? One more thing. So I do have another button here which takes me to are you ready? Are you ready for this? This is fantastic. This is the new thing. I can press this button and we can go straight over to bench cam. How amazing is bench cam? Now, if you're a fan, and I'll straight away, if you're a fan of Big Clive and places like that, then bench cam is it's a complete rip off of what they do. But I love the format so much. I think it's useful. I am emo. Oh, very good. Thank you. I'm pleased that you're understanding this stuff. That's good. I'm finding it useful. It's always reassuring when somebody takes some of the ideas and runs with them. Right, so this is bench cam. Look, here it is. And the nice thing about bench cam is you can now see me in profile whilst I'm working on the bench. I'm going to have to get used to this. I'm still learning how the bench works. The audio might have changed a little bit because now I'm actually using a different microphone. It's up here. So that microphone is now pointing at my face. Well, kind of pointing at my face. Let me just twist that round. There we go. Sorry if you were wearing headphones. So now it's pointing at my face. It's a little bit more reverb in this environment because I'm actually talking to what was the window. The window still exists, and now I can actually see out of it, which is quite nice. But it's also a big soundproof panel, the window. So it is a little reflective. I've still some tuning to do. But hopefully going back to close-up mode, when I turn around like this, right, the audio should come back into focus. I'm hoping it's all kind of working. You might need to bring the mic closer. Yeah, it does change a little bit. I can't make it not change. It's a different location, different microphone. And I'm not wearing a little lav mic or anything like that. There's too many wires as it is. So what am I going to make? Let's go over to bench cam then. Let's have a look. Well, let's go back to close-up cam. This is exciting, sort of pressing all of these buttons around. Jossie Mitsu, first time chat. Hello, howdy. Well, I thought what would be nice is I've got this big empty wall here behind me, and I was going to make a sign of the One Lone Coder logo. In fact, I've made all of these parts. I've designed them and I've 3D printed them. They're a single piece of it, like a translucent plastic here with a plastic boundary. And I'll hold the camera. In fact, let's go over to bench cam. That's what it's for, isn't it? Go over to bench cam, and if I hold that about there and try and get it to focus, see, these are things I'm going to have to learn. Come on, bench cam, focus up, focus up. We're too close. I think it's finding too many interesting things in the background. There we go, it found it in the end. You can see it's got all of this channeling and routing area around the letter, because that's for routing cabling, and we're going to mount some circuit boards on the inside of these signs with something called NeoPixels. So if you're not familiar with what NeoPixels are smart LEDs. There's an LED that contains all of the gubbins necessary to illuminate them the right colour. You have to show a photo of your camera control setup. It's called the F1 button, the F2 button, and the F3 button. NeoPixels aren't that smart. So if you've ever done any sort of like illumination projects for yourself and you've worked with directly just RGB LEDs, you usually have to provide some sort of LED driver and communicate with that. Smart pixels are not that. They actually contain the processor inside the LED themselves, and you just send the LED a signal to say, please output this particular colour. There's some catches to that, and I've not done it before. That's how I know it works, but we're going to hopefully have a go. We might not get that far tonight. That's why I've bought some cheapo microcontrollers to talk to it. The other thing is you can't do video and stuff like that of a NeoPixel because the update rate is not particularly fast. But I just, again, want to explore these things. And tonight, I've forgotten my oscilloscope. It's just occurred to me it's somewhere else. I'll need to bring it for the next episode. And we can get the oscilloscope on the screen. I can plug it in and we can actually have a look at some of the data moving around and just think about things from a slightly different perspective. They are WS2812Bs, I think they are. I'll show you this. Go back into bench cam. Look at that. So I purchased myself one of these panels. This was very cheap as well. It was about £12. I think that's about $16, something like that. US, something about 13 euros maybe. We're about similar at the moment. And it is, hopefully you can see, it is a 16 by 16 matrix of these RGB LEDs. The white square with the little circle in, let's pull that up there again. The white square is the LED itself. And next to the LED you have what's called a little reservoir capacitor. That's just for buffering, because the LED is an active thing. It's got a processor and a filter and things built inside it, and they're all connected together. I don't know precisely the order, but they're connected in series like this. Probably a serpentine pattern. Well, again, no idea, because none of this stuff that I've bought comes with data sheets, which means some exciting sort of analysis. Now, this tickled me a bit, because I think the original, certainly on Amazon where I bought this from, the original product has these sort of 3 copper dots in each corner, and it implies in the picture on the Amazon page that these are for voltage, ground and signal. You only need three pins in order to drive this, and it sort of goes through, does its thing, and then pops out the end, so you can connect it to another panel. But then somebody probably realised, hang on, we need loads of current for all of these LEDs. People think LEDs are low power. They are, but they still consume a fair whack of current. So they've just bodged some big heavy gauge cables right onto the back of it, which tickled me a bit. And one of the things I've also noticed, all of these products, nothing has ever been cleaned. Nothing's in an ultrasonic bath. If you hear the sort of vocals tip out, it's just whilst I'm looking over at the screen to make sure that it's in focus and not reflecting crazily all over the place. This big heavy gauge cable. Now, you know what makes this even worse is this big heavy gauge cable is actually really rubbish too, because you look at it and go, wow, yeah, that looks like something like an AWG23 sort of grade cable. I'd be able to get 6 amps through that, 6 amps or 9 amps or whatever it should be. And then you actually really look at it. Let's see if I can get this to focus in. There's maybe, I don't know if I put my hand behind it. Where are we looking? There we go. There's maybe a strand of aluminium going through it, so there's no way this stuff is actually rated for anything like the potential of this device. We may end up needing to replace and modify some of these things. Am I taking any ESD protections? No, not at all. So we probably destroyed half of this device by moving it. I've not done anything to it other than right now connect this header just through this terminal block. I've not got a soldering iron here. I'm still in the process of moving over a lot of my electronics gear, so I'm limited to what I've got lying around. So I thought what I would do with this particular panel is I then went and 3D printed a lattice like this. And this lattice was to put over the pixels, which I think is pretty cool. And I'll come up with some sort of lens or something on the front, and we'll be able to crudely display pixel art. This is not an original idea. You can go and buy these things on Etsy already. But one of the things I wanted to try first was with these near pixels before designing the circuit boards to put them into the sign. Because I think all of that's interesting stuff in its own right, and we'll have a look at how we can do all of those designs. But I thought, given this is so cheap, I've never played with these near pixels before, how do they work? Right, I do need to set up an additional monitor. It's just occurred to me because I can't see the chats when I'm using Benchcam. So I could do with a monitor just there. Let me jump back into close-up cam and just have a look at some of the chats. Can they take still photos? What, LEDs? No. Definitely an afterthought, yes. Potential fire hazard. Well, that's why it's an exciting stream. Nice setup from Speedy. Oh, good. Thank you, Speedy. Hello, by the way. Don't know if I missed you saying hello before. Very good. So that's where we're at. That's what the new studio is like. You can see I've got these fantastic overhead lights. And the cool thing is when I go into Benchcam, we are shadowless. Right? Quite deliberately, shadowless. I mean, you can sort of force one, but this is a nice way of actually seeing what's going on. And it also allows me to film things 24/7. My life is now dictated by a little person, and so I don't always get the opportunities that I used to do filming. But now I've got a bit of soundproofing put in, I've got proper lighting put in, I should be able to film and make things well into the evening. Right. So these were this is the ESP32 board itself. Let's shove that up there so you can have a look. See, it focused on that quite nicely. And on here we've got well, the ESP chip. I think the ESP chip is this. I've not quite settled. It could be this device, but it's more likely to be this. And you can see on the back here there is an antenna. There we go. And you see the little they use what's called a PCB trace antenna, and that antenna is for all the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Now, one of the reasons I've been learning some web dev recently is once this sign is up and running, I thought it would be cool on the streams to be able to let the internet drive the colours of the lights in real time. So you can go to the website, click on the letter, choose the colour, and it changes on the wall. It's a complete gimmick, but in terms of making YouTube videos, there's quite a lot of interesting technology I can talk about there. Good. It's good that I'm kind of in the middle. Oh, you may also have noticed, maybe you haven't, the streams are, I don't know how well this is coming through, please let me know, the streams are now in, come on, click over, get focused. Oh, I need a manual way to do this. This is taking far too long. That's interesting, isn't it? How sometimes it can do it straight away, and sometimes it just can't do it at all. Let's go really close and come back. See, it zoomed, it actually focused on the background there, didn't it? Come back. There we go. The streams are technically now full HD. If you didn't know before, they weren't full HD prior to tonight. They were 720. So hopefully we can get some crisp images up. Then is that coming through? Cover the background with your other hand. Yeah, I think I'll need to just print off a sheet or something for doing these close-ups. Or I might just put another camera in, which is... I'm thinking of getting a handheld sort of microscope one for this sort of work anyway, because I can then sort of point it at stuff a lot. It'll be a lot more intuitive. So what have we got on this device? Well, if you've not seen this before, I think this is the processor. It could be that, but I suspect that's actually the USB interface. Coming in, because the nice thing about these things is they've got some sort of built-in interface to the chip that makes it just appear as a USB device on your computer. I've not even plugged in, I've not downloaded anything to do with this just yet. This is all brand new, and I thought we'll give it a go tonight. What I noticed, as I mentioned before, is actually the stuff that you get is filthy. It's just none of it has been cleaned at all, and some of it even looks like it's been reworked and it's got solder blobs on it. Let me pull this one up here. There you go. So you can actually see there's all sorts of flux and gunge and sort of scum and absolute filth. Don't know what that is, but certainly I would run them through an ultrasonic bath. But I'm not complaining because I got these two and exactly the same, all of that for $9.99, which is absolutely nothing at all. Now, this is a little daughter board for it. Why did I choose this particular daughter board? Well, it was on offer when I chose the ESP board. There's 1,000,001 manufacturers of these things. I don't know what brand this is or what flavour it is. I think some of them get a bit longer with some more pins on. But they came with these daughter boards. And I quite like stuff like this. When you're just messing about, it's easy to get signals in and out. It's easy to probe the pins. And as you refine your designs, you sort of remove more and more of the scaffolding. So we start taking bits of this stuff off and putting them on our own circuit boards. And you plug the device in, like that, taking loads of ESD precautions. And it just then it sort of makes the pins accessible for you. It also allows you to do some power supply thing. I was looking at what these USB things do. I don't think they do anything smart. I think they're just different ways to put in 5 volts. Let me have a look. I have no data sheets for this, but I have sort of looked at the traces on it. Get to zoom in. You can sort of see the traces around the components. Tracing those through and using my multimeter, really any power that's coming in here goes to this linear regulator here. So this is designed to give out a fixed voltage regardless of the demand of the circuit. And what I did notice is actually it's got quite a high dropout. So if I want it to actually output 5 volts, I need to supply a minimum of 6.5. It turns out actually 6 volts is enough, even though it says 6.5 on the device. And that will regulate it down to 5, and then I can choose how the device is powered up. The device itself actually has its own regulator on there as well, and that regulator is outputting 3 volt 3, and 5 volts and 3 volt 3 are common sort of hobby logic levels. When you get serious about your logic levels, they start getting very, very small. But we'll never need that sort of thing for anything we do here. So I was hoping tonight to maybe try understand how to set up a programming environment for these things and potentially write some code. It's got some LEDs on it to blink. I've rigged up a 6 volt power supply. In fact, I got banned off eBay immediately after I bought a benchtop power supply. Whether that's coming or not, I don't know. They did take my money. They were happy to take my money and then ban me. So I'm hoping there's going to be a power supply arriving in the post. Right, let me just jump over to close-up cam and catch up with some of the chats, because I will have to put a screen over there, though. That's important. Close-up cam. There we go. Right, catch up with a handful of what's going back. What's that keypad on the right? It's a keypad. The ESP board is attached to a breakout board. Yep. Good. Morris has obviously used these things before. Always meant to get into embedded dev, but I've never taken the time for it. It's one of those things that has quite a steep learning curve. And then once you've learnt it, all you really do is make LEDs blink on and off. So I've got to remember to look at the camera, haven't I? Not the chat. Maybe if I can put the chat right next to the camera. Time to write your own camera firmware to fix all that. That would be good fun and games. That's right. So what cameras? I know some people actually do nerd out over these things, don't they? Right. This is a Logitech C920. So this is running at 1080p. I've actually I've sort of manually color corrected it and to some extent sharpened it. I found that the image quality of this thing was not good. On the Discord, we had some debate about what was good and what was bad. Then on this camera, which is you can see up here, I've got a little 3D printed block which is suspended between the shelves. So these shelves are deliberately designed with a gap in, because that gap I can use to suspend microphones, cables, lighting rigging, potentially things like a chat monitor, which I'm seriously thinking about doing now, putting just a small screen hanging down there so I can see the chat whilst I'm doing stuff on the bench. The lights are quite cool. These were a fairly cheap purchase. They were about £30. The LED, in total, there's 36 watts. They are quite bright and they are quite cool, but they are what's considered a daylight bulb. And that allows me to then, when I'm making videos with this setup, and that's the plan, I can do things like colour correction a little bit more intuitively. What else is on the bench? Well, these you can see this is traditional 2-slot rail. If I point at this bit, you can see it. So these are the kind of things you get in stores and things holding their shelves up. You get them for home, and I quite like them for home, but these are particularly long. They're deliberately designed to hang on to these planks that I've got up here with all the lighting rig, and I can tear that down when I don't need it. It's quite convenient. And above that, I've got some additional shelves for storage of stuff, which has been a particular problem. The light up here I have is some newer sort of light panel. I can change the warmth and the balance on that. And the overhead lights, I've not actually got those on at the moment. I've got plenty of light in this room. So there we go. That's the setup. Oh, the microphones. So the microphones are probably the most expensive part of the setup. I'm using Audio Technica, is it 8? It's written on the side. 87. Have a look. Audio Technica 875R. 875R, and I've got 2 off. So I've got one here, which is also picking up CodeCam. So this is basically voiceover mode. This is how it's always been, actually. This mic hasn't actually changed. And I've got one now for the bench cam. So because when I'm on the bench, if I'm in, so you can see this mic is actually not pointing at my face anymore, so I go quite quiet. But there's enough of a sort of a blend together. I think so. As you can tell, I'm quite happy with the setup. Yes, Josh Mitsu, I was just banned. I mean, to their credit, right? I know that sounds unusual. This is the typical sort of British upper lip coming through here. I created the account. Well, I found the power supply that I wanted. I then created the account to go and buy it. I set it up all legitimately. I paid for the power supply. It said, yeah, congratulations, thank you for your order. It was about 28 minutes later I got an email saying, you have been permanently banned from eBay. And it's not just a point of you've been permanently banned, but you can still log in and do all of this appeal. The account evaporated straight away. Right? There is nothing. If I try and log in now, I just get a big red rectangle and a 404 error. It is gone. And so I actually contacted eBay support about this, saying, well, firstly, I'm frustrated. I've lost my eBay account that I've had for 20 minutes, but also I've paid for this item. What's going to happen? And to their credit, they rang back within 30 seconds. They actually rang me and to talk through the problem. And the guy on the phone couldn't believe he was having this conversation. You could tell he felt stupid saying these things. And he said, I can see what the problem is, but I'm not allowed to tell you. And so I asked him, well, if I wanted to create an account, how do I avoid it happening again? And he says, I'm not allowed to tell you that. Sorry. Right. So my eBay career has finished very briefly. Hopefully I'll get the thing that I've ordered. If not, I don't actually have any mechanism of appeal because I can't log in as that registered user anymore. Very, very strange. Don't know why they banned me. They won't provide a reason. Don't know. Is this the shed at the end of the garden? No, not yet. Still my inside studio. The shed at the end of the garden, as much as I'd love to do, conflicted with the cost of having offspring. So one had to win over the other. I wish that wasn't a common thing. Yeah, it's... I don't know. It was frustrating to me. What PSU would you have bought? It was an Altair EM613. It's a particularly old one. I think with electronics gear now, one of the problems you've got is all of the really good stuff you'd get back in the well, 20, 30 years ago, because there wasn't that many supplies of stuff. It was usually reasonably good quality, but now there's so many cheap supplies of electronics testing goods that actually most of them are just not rated and rubbish. Now, I don't mind an oscilloscope being a bit noisy. I don't mind that sort of, that's fine for me. But power supplies, I draw the line at, because you buy a power supply hoping it's not going to burn your house down. And I don't want to spend £29 on a power supply. I want to spend £150 on it with quality components that aren't going to catch fire, because I might want to leave it on for a prolonged period of time, and I would normally have faith in the equipment to be able to do that. So there's a line where I'm not prepared to sort of get one of these cheapy switch mode power supplies in a box thing. It's got like loads of fancy bells and whistles, LEDs and USB ports all over it. Not interested. Right. DC power supplies for things similar rating systems to the ones on PCs? No. So PC power supplies are usually pretty low voltage, very stable voltage, but lots and lots of current. Benchtop power supplies tend to be a variable voltage level that you can set, but quite an accurate one, and they can react quite well to changes in load. And you can have other things like constant current sources and constant voltage sources. So it's got some interesting features you can use to help diagnose and protect the circuits that you're developing. Right. Oh, as you can see, I'm growing a beard too. So lots of things has happened. There we go. Well, you don't want to just hope you don't get a dodgy one. You buy a good one. Yeah, so that's the other thing. You could go ahead and create your own if you wanted to. I'd rather just buy one and know that it's not burnt somebody else's house down. Right, I'm going to start doing the ESP32 stuff. Oh, we're still in benchcam mode. Let's jump over to, what are we doing? We want to jump over to that one, right? Because, well, I kind of always had a beard, but yeah, it's kind of fleshing out a bit. It'll be coming off just before Christmas. So I have no idea really where to start with this thing. I'm reluctant to just sort of immediately plug it into my computer. Maybe what we should do is plug it into the power supply. Let's see what happens when we plug it into the power supply. Now we'll go back to benchcam. Yeah, I like that. This says, just put that O back there. That's better. So I'm firstly going to turn my meter on just so we can take some readings of things. So I've got this set to volts. Hopefully you can see the display on the meter. Yeah, you can. Oh, good, nice and clear. What have we got coming out of this? Let's turn you on. Ugh. Right, so this is just one of those wall wart supplies. Wall wart, because I know not all of you will know what that means. This sort of thing, 3-pin plug with a variable voltage on the back. It's the best I've got at the moment. Now I have to remember to sort of stretch out to be in the middle, or else I'm just all going to be doing everything down here. So this is a hopefully negative on the outside, ground on the outside, and positive on the inside. Now my meter is nothing special either. This is a meter that's been around the world with me actually. Make sure I'm in voltage mode. And what have we got coming out of here at the moment? 6.2 volts. It's meant to be 6, but you know what? I can live with that. 6.2 volts will be fine. And if I plug it into this particular board, what happens? Bzzzt. Let's plug that in. Well, an LED came on. Can you actually see the LED? Come on, focus. Focus. I go there and come down. I think the LED is affecting the focus there. Anyway, it's got an LED in the corner, so that's interesting. It's lit up. And that LED is called an RPW LED. I'm sure that's meant to say PWR, but I don't know. Maybe there's like a whole naming system for this family of devices, which I'm just not familiar with at all. And I'm just going to take a quick few readings to understand how this device is wired up. So I'm going to keep my probe on ground there. What's this jumper doing? So the jumper is labelled 3 volts on that side and 5 volts on that side. And I've got that linked through 504, so that's coming out of the regulator. There it is. So the regulator's this device in the middle. And it says here I've got some labelled pins, so that should be 3 volt 3, but it's not because that's coming from the chip, it's not connected at the moment. And this one is 504 again, so there's our 5 volts. And I'm guessing this jumper does something. These rails here, you'll see there's 3 rails either side of the device. One's labelled G, one's labelled V, and one labelled S. I'm going to take a punt and assume that the V here on the circuit board is actually the same V in the middle here. It looks like it, yeah. So all of those in the middle are going to be 5 volts. I'm guessing the same on this side. All of those are 5 volts too. So these ones are probably the signals coming from the devices. We'll plug a device in a minute and have a look. And I'm guessing G is ground. We'll test that actually, because I don't know. I'm just going to stick you into continuity mode, and I'm just going to disconnect you. You shouldn't take continuity of your circuit whilst it's plugged in, by the way. You'll get all sorts of false reading. So we wanted to check what this rail was. Ground. Where we got a ground? Ground somewhere. Ground. There we go. Yeah, okay. So that's ground on the reg. Interesting. It's not on the shields. Have a look. Well, you should be ground. Well, this pin's labelled ground, so let's take you and you. Okay, yeah, that's good. And ground on that side, a bit creaky there. And we've got another set of pins there. These are too small for you guys to see, but they're also called ground. I'm just checking that that is the case. That's ground. So why was I not getting ground coming through you? Okay, I do. My probes are a bit creaky, but also it looks like the centre positive on here is, well, definitely not ground. Is that ground on the side? Have they actually got a side lug on this? Yeah, they do. Okay, so I've got a known ground point. Good. So it's ground coming through on all the pins, and it looks like I can select what the V level is, which are these middle rails, by positioning this jumper to 3 volt 3 or 5. I'll leave it at 5 for the time being. There's no way that my power supply and this board are going to be capable of sending all of the current required through to this matrix array. If you make an assumption that each one of these LEDs might actually require 20 milliamps when it's at full brightness with emitting white light on all 3 diodes, then 64 times 20 milliamps is actually quite a whack of current, particularly at 5 volts. So you will have some, yeah. Interesting. So hopefully what we won't do tonight is accidentally turn that on to full brightness and sort of brown out the power supply. That'll be good fun though. Let's plug this in, see what happens. I'm guessing it's this way around. And the only reason I'm guessing it's this way around is because the numbers on here, let's just look at this. This is awful. Let's come on, get the zoom sorted out. There we go. Right. It's covered in flux. I mean, properly crusty flux as well. Where am I looking? So if I, you can actually scrape this off. It's, oh, see? So it's a real mess. I thought it was some sort of conformal coating at first, but actually no, it's just the boards have never been cleaned after they've been soldered together, possibly by hand, and they're just not cleaned. If you don't clean your board, I mean, it'll still work. It's just, it doesn't look very nice, and over time it'll corrode things, so that's no good. Let's just make sure that these pins are what I think they are. So that one's actually labelled ground. Good. That's coming through. And this one's labelled 3 volt 3. So I think this is an output, not an input. And it should go to that pin there. There we go, because that one's labelled 3 volt 3. So we can selectively then choose what's going to those middle rails. Right, okay. Here we go. Bzz. Well, we've got 2 LEDs. There's one here, and there's still the RPW LED. This one actually says PWR, which is good. Now, I don't know if these are pre-programmed with anything. Has this now just logged onto my Wi-Fi network and started sniffing about? No idea. Not a clue. You see, I don't even know if I've got a sufficient cable to plug into the USB port and send it out to the computer. We'll leave that running for a bit just to soak test. Oh, should we actually see if it's generating some voltages? Now it's actually live. So we said the regulator should be giving out 5 volts, and we determined it was giving out... Oh, I need to put it into measure mode, don't I? What have we got? 503. Okay, 504. It's the same as before. That's good. It means we're regulating fine. And the 3 volt rail, is it a good 3 volt 3? Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad. Should be... It's not bad. It should be actually 3 volt 3, but a little bit over. Okay. Good. We'll leave that running for a bit, see if it gets hot and lets off any fumes. So, I think now we'll go and have a look at how to install a development environment for this. I'm going to assume that there is something for VS Code, and the reason I'm going to assume that is, of course, I have looked slightly ahead in time. Let me find the right window. Let me pull it up. And we'll go over to traditional code cam. There we go. You can't help me. Go away. And if I go to espressif.com, which is the maker of this particular device, in fact, they make all of the ESP32 stuff, they say there is a VS Code marketplace extension. Now, we've been using a bit of VS Code recently, but it looks like it can actually make VS Code into a properly integrated debugging environment for this device. I mean, let me have a look over here. Just to keep this into perspective, I don't even know what language I'm supposed to program this thing in. I just thought, I've heard of this device. I've seen people mention them on the Discord before. I'll get one of those. Why not? Super cheap. Let me just have a quick glance at some chats as well whilst I'm over here. Yeah, we didn't get any blue smoke. Cool Zikri. Hello. Yes, thank you. I'm doing well. I'm sort of getting back into the swing of things. Run Wireshark. I'm not going to run Wireshark today. C++ is doable. Okay, that's fine. I don't mind if it's C or C++. I don't really want to be dipping into assembly if I can help it. I don't really know what the specs are of my device. Open up another one. Where am I looking? There we go. So it says on here it is an ESP32 W Room 32. Let's have a quick Google for that then. ESP32 W Room 32. Yes, you see the price of these things is absolutely nothing at all. And that's why I thought it was interesting. Data sheet, and that looks encouraging. I'm going to need that. Not recommended for new designs. Okay, I mean, that's the whole reason I moved away from the other one, but I don't actually feel that that's going to disappear too much. I think they're probably getting a bit excited with that. Now let's have a look. So the specifications. So it's got... it's a generic Wi-Fi and Bluetooth MCU module. Hopefully there are some libraries to sort of help you guide through doing the wireless stuff. I don't really want to have to write all of that by scratch. But I don't mind doing some of the other stuff myself. Integrated SPI flash. What we're looking at, 40 megahertz crystal. Did it tell me what a clock speed was? No, it's more interested in telling me what the Wi-Fi credentials are. Module interfaces, good. This one, so I2C. So I2C is what the NeoPixels talk. It's rubbish I2C, but it's what we've got. So we'll have a look at getting that working. Two-wire automotive interface. So that's good. That's actually I actually use CAN quite a bit for my professional stuff. So it's good to know that potentially I could throw this at some CAN. Operating current, about 80 milliamps. Operating voltage from the power supply. Well, that's what it's got its onboard regulator for. So even though we've given it about 5.04 volts, it should be regulating that down to 3 volt 3. Okay, other than that, it didn't actually give me sort of any useful specs. How much memory has it got? How fast is it? Yeah, so like useful stuff to tell me. It's got lots of I/O. That's good. Right, why? Some of you might be thinking, maybe you're not, but why am I wearing a coat indoors? It's the basic ESP32. Okay, good. Somebody that knows what they're talking about. Good evening. First time catch your stream. Have been watching content. Thank you. Oh, very good. Yeah, I've not streamed for well about 2 months. If you've only just joined, we've been doing some renovations and reconfigurations of the studio and life and equipment and all sorts of things. So we're just kind of getting back into the swing of it, warming up a little bit for the new year, because I've actually got some time off over Christmas, and it's my intention to try and do as much as I can for OLC over that time. Yeah, I don't know. I can't see any sort of interesting... Ah, here we go. CPU and internal memory. 448K of ROM. Okay. 520K of RAM. 8K of actual RAM. 8K of slow memory. I like that. eFuse 256. What's this? MAC address and chip. Okay, so it's got a bunch of like okay, settable words. External flash, right? Whatever. Crystal oscillators. Does it actually give you sort of an instruction rate at all? Where are we looking? Because I've made an assumption this is going to be good enough to run some of these NeoPixels off. Maybe I'm just completely wrong. Electrical characteristics. Cumulative output I/O current. That's okay. We're not going to be powering any of the LEDs through this device, so we're okay. Wi-Fi radio. Oh, it's okay. It's a little bit. It's got some features. Oh, schematics. Good. That's always useful. I quite like it when a dev board comes with a good set of schematics like this, because it does mean I can eventually just go and buy the chip. What I'm actually interested in, though, is how do we go about programming it in Visual Studio Code, which that's where we're following this guide, weren't we? There we go. That's better. Quick install guide. You can download it from VS Code Marketplace. Okay. Is this a popular thing? Is there anybody else other than me in the world doing this? Anybody else using this? All right, Morris. See you later. Why am I wearing my coat? I get distracted all the time. It's because this afternoon I went outside after we've just had a big storm in the. I'll tell you what, this is the perfect opportunity. We've just had a big storm in the UK called Storm Dag or whatever it was, and the winds actually around where I live, they got very, very high, up to some places about 85 miles an hour, which is for our little country is pretty strong. And I have a gas feed into my house to power our heating and things, and the cover of the gas feed got blown off. And so I thought, oh, I'll go and pick it up out the street. And as I was putting it back onto the sort of where it enters the property, I could smell gas. And I thought, oh, well, that's not good. I've been able to sort of smell natural gas all around the outside of your home. So I've contacted the gas board, or whatever they're called now, and they're currently replacing our gas installation outside. It was at time. It's 10 to 9 in the evening. They're outside now doing it, and I only phoned them 4 hours ago. So I don't grumble about these services. They're not charging me for this. VS Code, Platform I/O user. Yeah, Platform. I've some experience with Platform I/O. Is that what this is going to use? Don't know. Yeah, so yeah, exactly, Charlie. So at the moment, I have no central heating in my house, or the ability to cook anything other than a microwave, because all of my cooking equipment is powered by gas as well. So we've actually had a McDonald's for tea. Well, it's not like it's every day. So where are we going? We're looking at keep pressing F5. How do I unbind F1 from sort of bringing up help menus all over Windows? So this is the extension for VS Code. So this is what it's suggesting that we install. The latest master installer. You can use this Vizix to test the current GitHub master. Ugh. I'm just going to click this big green install. It's only got 3 stars, you see. So quite a lot of people have done it, but 3 stars is usually indicative of it's a bit rubbish. So this guy did it a couple of weeks ago. It never works. Have you followed the install steps here? You can install any ESP IDF version. Please switch them at any time. Then it assumes I don't have my own Python variable on my system. If I do, it just does not work. Oh dear. So they're saying it's rubbish. These are saying it's rubbish. These are saying it's rubbish. I followed the install and configure documentation. I mean, at least they're getting responses. It works extremely well. With every update, they've added features. Very poor extension. Runs into roadblocks, errors, as mentioned. Documentation is poor. It's not quite beginner friendly. I installed it according to the manual and reported some stupid problems. I understand that one of the things I can do is actually use the Arduino interface, but I feel that that's even worse. I want a proper development environment for this. Because I actually work with micros a lot, I'm not going to be wanting my hands held too long with this thing. If I really want to get stuck into the weeds, that's what I want to be able to do. So I just want to, if necessary, use its own native instruction language or something. Just a horrible extension. I tell you, these guys don't like it, do they? Oh dear. Have you followed these install steps? Well, let's just bring up that link. What is this? Empowers developers to efficiently develop, build, flash, monitor, debug, and manage. Okay, that's good. 1, okay, good. What about this project? Right, I'm just going to click install, and we're going to see what happens. Install. Visual Studio Code is required to install this extension. Don't have it, don't show this. I do have it. Allow Marketplace. Visual Studio wants to open this application. Open Visual Studio Code. Okay. It's just brought up the same website. Right. Install, download, and install Visual Studio Code. Yes. Search for ESP32 insect. Oh, there we are. Install. Thank you. Installing. Right. Whilst that's installing, I'll look at these. Surprise! It's Python. The toolchain uses some Python. Yeah, it's okay. I don't mind what the toolchain uses. That's fine. Right. Basic usage guide. Configuring the ESP32 extension. Linux and Mac users, no, not bothered. Configure this extension. Yeah, I think we want to do that. Oh, the technology is buzzing at me. We want to do that? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. How many different guides should I be following? Is this guide? Good old user interface. Select setup mode. Choose the express setup mode. I have no. What's just giving me all these options to choose from. Click the install button. Mark as done. So that's just a list of stuff, isn't it? So 1. Select setup mode. Right, it's downloading something. That's good. Guess that's good. Express, fastest option. Directory Python executable. Advanced. Configurable option. Choose that. Tools directory in Python executable to create that. Okay, I'll just go with Express. Why not? The path is not valid. Select a download server. Select the version. I don't have a version on my system. Enter. We'll have to go back to the walkthrough. Now, what did it say was the next thing to do? Choose from the menu. Select ESP32 version. Okay. I don't know what version I need. Let's go for latest. Right? 5.3.2. Go for that. Yeah, just use whatever the default absolute everything is. We can always configure all of this later on. Install. Okay, whilst that's downloading, we can jump over to. I can show you the sign that I'm working on. Look at that. I've been designing this. I'm using Autodesk Fusion to do these designs. Let me just close that one down. I'll get rid of that. There we go. So this is the sign. One lone coder. And it's made of 2 different types of plastic, and I can print it sort of in these individual letter modules. And those on the back. So what I was trying to show you before. There's actually got. I'm going to be mounting sort of circuit boards on the inside of the sign, and then wire them all up. It's going to be a complete like rat's nest of wires all over the place. But then also write the web app that allow people to change the colours of the circuit boards in the sign in the background in real time. I think it'll be a fun project for me to learn about how all these different technologies work. All right, Johnny G. See you later. Man's looking more sharp. Well, I've got a sharpening filter on this particular camera. Maybe that's what you've discovered. Have you made sure to install Python in VSC and VSC via Python? No, I've never tried to install Python. Why would I ever try to install Python? Do you know what you're going to make the lighting do yet? Well, the Matrix board, no idea. I just want to see if I can make anything light up. I don't think we're going to get there tonight at this rate. We're still downloading. What this is? I guess this is actually downloading something. It said it's fairly big here. What are we looking at? We're looking at, yeah, pretty big actually. 1.8 gigs. So that to me sounds like a whole tool chain of something. Hopefully I've got enough hard drive space for that. On this particular drive, if it just sort of defaults to C drive, it might actually run out of space. We'll see. Exciting stuff. Yeah, I gathered as much. Yeah. Good old progress bar stream. Everybody likes those, right? These are always good streams when there's literally nothing happening other than progress bars. I was expecting it to be a bit smaller than this. If you've ever tried installing anything by Microchip, any of the MP Lab software, that's an absolute nightmare. But at least it's functional. It kind of works. But there's so many sort of additional steps and tools and things you have to go about doing. Just installing code blocks in the background. I've got code blocks installed somewhere here. Do you know the best part about code blocks is you can sort of install the latest version and it's still 15,000 years old. Oh, I don't like Visual Studio Code. I know a lot of people swear by it, but I find all of this sort of wizard interface clumsy. So what do we think of Benchcam then? Do we think Benchcam is going to be a good idea? Do you think this is going to be some interesting stuff? I'm just seeing if there's any heat coming off this. There's a little bit, there's a little bit of heat coming off, and there's a little bit of heat coming off the reg. That's what I'd expect. Nothing, no problem there. And yeah, I don't think we're going to get to running this today because we had quite a lot of introduction about all of the new studio and layout and things. But this has been bought because it was a cheap bunch of these devices all in a straight line already. If I can make this work, I can make the sign work. That's the theory behind it anyway. It's looking pretty good, that image. I'm looking at it on the OBS now, the Benchcam. I think it looks all right. Oh, this is still doing a setup. See, gone are the days where it was fashionable for a little bit to have your embedded micro programmable in the browser. You'd use the cloud-based tech to just go away and do it. You wouldn't have to do any of this. And I've actually used that professionally. So I'm hoping this is installing some sort of C and C++ tool chain. No idea what I'm actually installing. Maybe we should read the manual whilst it's doing this. This is the extension. Code coverage, build your application level. Just tell me what I need. Let's go back. We did that. Getting started. See, it doesn't even say what language it's going to be. Onboarding will help you quickly install the ESP IDF and its relevant toolchain. Flash. Well, that's good. I don't like that. I think you have to press a button each time you program these devices. I'm not so sure about that. App and heap tracing. I mean, it looks like it's going to be good. We've got sort of a Hello World Blinky application or something like that. I'm hoping there'll be some sort of immediate project we can just try and install. But I think that the immediate stumbling block is going to be USB cable capability because I haven't got a USB-A to USB-C cable to hand. And I did think at one point that these USB ports, they're good. There's a USB-C one here, and there's a USB micro here, and this is a USB-C on the device. I hoped that perhaps they were actually all connected on the data paths as well, but I really don't think they are. Because I've actually got a cable that could go into that one, but I've not got a USB-C cable. That'll be next on the purchasing list, I expect. Those regular, they are NeoPixels, yes. Programming multiple languages. I tell you what I did like, actually. For the first time, I used Visual Studio Code. Oh, we got some blue lines. For the first time, I used it for using remote development with like SSH tunneling all the way through to some remote server. And it does that really well. I haven't used an application that's been that fluid at just presenting the file system and allowing me to have a terminal and editor all sort of in one place. I've developed like that for a number of years, but I've always done it through putty and sort of manually and individually. But to just have it all in one sort of screen has been really quite nice as a Windows user needing to develop on a Linux platform. We're kind of getting there. Toolchain for RISC-V base. Oh, garbage. Right. Still nothing on that one. Nothing has changed on that. Oh, we've ticked a box. Create an example project. That's where we'll be at soon. It makes things like version control very user-friendly. What, you think Visual Studio Control makes version control user-friendly? Wow. Does the insert key work yet? Just throwing that out there. So that'll wind a handful of people up. I mean, it looks like it's downloading a full tool chain here, which is good. I've never actually programmed, not knowingly programmed for a RISC-V anything before. It's just Git. Yeah, it's just Git behind the scenes. Yeah, I quite like a proper Visual Studio, grown-up Visual Studio. I quite like the Git integration these days. It's pretty good. Right, I'm going to jump back over to CodeCam. There we go. Because we've got lots of blue lines and some ticked boxes. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's just Git, innit? It is. Don't let them tell you different. It is. Oh. Well, we might be coming towards the end because if we don't get sort of up and running, I'm not just sitting here with progress bars all night, hoping it would be a bit quicker than this. I'd have had Visual Studio installed by now. What's it saying? Installing Python virtual env and ESP32. Ah, thank you very much, Perker. Thank you. Oh, Dr. Falcon. Oh, is gifting 5 subs to the community. They've gifted a total of 5 in the channel. Well, that's very, very kind of you. Thank you for doing so. Every little helps. It all goes towards my mostly team. Right, now we've got some sort of console output going on. Oh, hang on. Oh. We're right, okay. New project. I want to click tutorials. Install and configure. Have I not just installed it? No. Click on that. Is it just going to open another website? Yes. What do I need to do? I don't know. I'm going to presume it's done all that, right? Let's assume they've done. So show examples. Loading examples. Another progress bar. Right, good. No framework selected. Oh, okay. I guess we have to do the install and configure, right? Is that not something I do here? All settings have been configured. Start an ESP32 project. That'll just take me to more websites. Using show examples projects. View. Show examples to select and create a new project from the example. A window will appear. Create project using example. Opening existing one. Okay. Is it import projects? Do I need to sort of bring those in first? Import project? No. Okay. Is it show examples? We'll see if that does it again. Loading examples. Who knows? There was an option at the top. Okay, the chat are helping. So I have to actually sort of select something, do I? Okay. Good. User examples now. So I just want, blink. There we go. Right, what have we got here? What language? I still don't know what language we're going to be programming this in. This example demonstrates how to blink an LED by using the GPIO driver or using the LED strip light. Oh, that's convenient to know that it's kind of already got something. WS2812. The LED strip library is installed via Component Manager. How to use the example. Before project configuration and build, be sure to correct set the correct chip target. Okay. Open the hardware required. Development board with an LED or an addressable LED on board. Yeah, we'll sort that out in a minute. Configure the projects. I actually like to go and type in lots of stuff to do this. Just load the project. Where's the project? How do I load it? Select location for. See, why is the button like change location? Select location for creating the Blink project. Okay, Blink. Oh, yeah. Just do it in there. Select. Do you want to save the changes? No. Don't save. Oh. Okay. Do you trust the author of this? Yeah, why not? Oh, right, some code. PyTest. So I'm guessing it's in Python. We had. Well, it was there briefly, then it disappeared. Oh, this I can't stand this sort of stuff. All this garbage sort of pop-ups and pings. Compile commands. This may cause. Generate compile commands. Do it. Yeah, good. Where was the command palette? Yeah. What have we got then? So it says here, what is this? PyTest _ blink. Let's understand. Define test blink. Binary file is. I mean, really, is this blinking code? This looks like some sort of bootstrap. Oh, yeah, that looks more like blinking code. Yeah, okay. There we go. Interesting. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can all see. This looks like, so it's to blink an LED. Really, to blink an LED, we're going to use FreeRTOS. Really, wow. And that's the Hello World application. Wow. Garbage. What toss? That's made me very angry. I mean, I'm going to steal it verbatim because it looks like it'll already do what we need it to do. But to actually start, if you upload a Blink application to your microcontroller, you expect it to be about 6 lines long of changing a digital pin in a loop. Wow, they need a real-time operating system in order to make the LED blink. That's actually has upset me. I mean, nothing on here looks particularly unusual for these sort of projects later on. They've got something. So where are these all defined? So this LED strip set pixel. How do I find where that is? I'm guessing it's in this ledstrip.h file. Where's that? Managed components include LED strip H. Look. Documented. Is there a body to this? Somewhere, there must be somewhere. LED strip source. LED strip API. There we go. Okay, interesting. Okay, so the fact that these functions already kind of exist means we should be able to get through this project quite quickly, providing I can get the thing compiled. I guess that's the next thing. How do I compile something? I don't know is the answer. How do I compile something on this? Let's click the play. Run and debug. Okay, what's this? Yeah, run and debug. Go. Output. Is it doing anything? Terminal. Debug console. Problems. I mean, it's saying everything's good. So, run it. Start debugging. No, I just want you to build the thing. How do I build the thing? Somebody that knows what they're doing. Show me how to build the thing. The amount of power it has. You can right mouse the symbol and jump from there. Oh, to find something. Well, I thought so, but it kind of just Didn't give me any options at all. Let's go back to the welcome page just to make sure I've not missed something. Debugging. I mean, the project structure, I kind of lost the project structure now. I kind of understand that. Where's the Explorer there? That doesn't look unusual to me for an embedded systems project thing. How do you just run the thing? It's putting all of this stuff along the bottom here. I don't know if you can see that just behind the chat here. It said run P port. I think you can Control Shift B. That seems like a good option. Maybe it's going to do something. Control Shift B. No build task. Actually, so it's sort of giving me a half finished project, right? Ugh. Ugh. The CMake is there. Do you want to install CMake tools? Yeah, go for it. Why not? Some status bar. I've now moved to the project view. This is why I don't like Visual Studio Code. Don't like it. Don't like it. We've now got other stuff. So CMake. We got build. Okay, we're getting closer. Nothing. Select kit. Okay, how do I select the kit? Okay. Scan for compilers. Well, I'm not compiling for any of those. I want to compile for, presumably, the toolchain we've just installed. Right, this shouldn't be too difficult. Install and configure tutorial back here again. So I would have thought it would have defaulted all of this for me. Lost the actual project now. It's just strange to me. I just don't like it at all. Get to the main program. I just want to build you. Compile active file. I mean, unable to find compilation. So the extension hasn't done a great deal, has it, really? Does it know where to play? No, it doesn't even know where the compiler is at the moment. So that's why it's not even giving me any sort of options to do anything, because it'll be using whatever ESP's compiler is. And we've not got that far. There's not a single vendor like the library set. There was a build the project. Yeah, I know, but it says you click build the project and it just goes, well, yeah, I'd like to, but you haven't got a compiler, buddy. I mean, we downloaded 1.8 gig of something. Run and debug. Yeah, just run it. Okay. Eclipse. Yeah, so I don't want to get stuck into all that right now. Just want to make sure, just output, is there a problem with the C file? You know? Don't know, but the sad part is I'm also running out of time too. Maybe click on the arrow on top of the OneNote icon. This, that, execute custom task, open terminal, debug. So there's the same stuff up there. Flash device. Right, build project. Okay. Right, so well, that was helpful. I'm glad that they've allocated 16 by 16 pixels on my screen to making the most valuable button clickable. It's only got 980 things to build anyway. Good. Can I actually look at what it's doing? Does it give me some verbosity if I click on? Yeah, it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. So it's building everything. That's okay. I expect it to do. Hopefully it doesn't have to do this every time. It shouldn't do. This isn't uncommon actually. When I program for ARM devices quite a bit at work, this is nothing. 980. 980. Well, it's building something, but I don't think it's going to have built by the time I'm going to finish this stream. So I'm going to wrap it up there. So new studio means new ID. No, I'm afraid not. It does for this particular device. Right, so I'm going to close-up cam. Oh no, that was bench cam. Oh, still learning these things. Right, thank you very much, guys. A bit of a chaotic new one. Still learning what the buttons are. Still need to look at what I'm doing. And I'm going to try and find out what to do here and try and make it a little bit better for next time. And hopefully we'll get some LEDs blinking and don't set fire to my new studio in the meantime. So until then, everybody, take care.